Hey, good morning. It's Dr. Bob Flower, and this is the Master Pattern Report for Monday, February 4th, 2013, one of my favorite days. Okay, we got a lot of things to talk about today. Let's talk a little bit about economics first. The market has backed off as we had called for last week. Um, we think it's going to continue to back off for just a little bit here before it tries to break through that 14,000 once again. And it's moving so with all sorts of adversities. You know, as many of you may know, the market is a function of 1 to 2 day projections. It's not a forecaster of things to come, so to speak. And it really doesn't care about 6 months or next year or 5 years. It just cares about today and tomorrow. That's the nature of the players. We are looking at a continued back off. We think this week before it reverses itself and starts back up again. The metals are in this no man's land, but we do see a pattern that very conceivably may mean a breakout here. I will have more information for you next week, but I think that what we're looking at is late February that we may see a major breakout in the metals. One of the problems is this, and it's important that you understand this, because I know we have a lot of metal players that watch the show. Here's the problem. There are a great deal many more players in the commodities market for investment than there ever has been. You know, before it was a security. People would buy gold or silver for protection hedges, okay, against inflation and failure and what have you, market collapses, things of that sort. But today, it's become a great deal more of almost a daily investment type of thing, like buying securities or other commodities or stocks or what have you. So it has taken on a different character, different energy, so to speak, and we must be mindful of that. The underlying basis still is there, that it's a secure haven, safe haven for investors. And it's important not to lose sight of that. But it has changed its character a little bit, so it's more influenced by market conditions. One of the market conditions that's occurring right now is the dollar seems to be approaching a rapid decline period. And that that may well be the motivator for the commodities to move up. For instance, oil. We're bullish on oil here. We think that oil may well see $100 within the next couple of weeks. Certainly by the end of February. So as the dollar declines, you keep in mind that, of course, oil will recover. And while gold and silver has been following the markets more so than historically, the security factor, the safe haven factor, comes into play more. Okay, all right. Now, in addition to that, I want to talk a little bit about some investments. This is going to be a big investment show today. Our Wendy's is up to close to $5.20. We're looking at a price of around $5.40, $5.50. So those of you that did buy, I know there were several of you that had emailed me. I mean, anytime, depending, I think if you got in around $4.50 or $4.25, $4.35, where we had projected the up move. Anytime from 525 on up, I think is a good time to. We're selling off more of our portfolio on the Wendy's securities now. So It may well go to 550 and beyond that, but you uh, you know, pigs and hogs. You know, one's for dinner and one's for slaughter. So I think it's mindful that we have broached that $5 level that we had projected, and we're almost at the 520, and looking at 550 on Wendy's. Okay. The other investment that we're looking at and we're about to enter into is the Turkey, the country, the country of Turkey market. This has just been on a bull rampage, and Turkey is a fascinating place. I've been there. It's just loaded with potential. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's still it's not third country, and it's not second country, but it's not first country either. But it is very, very promising. They're desperate to get into the EU. I don't know why, but Turkey, the Turkey market is really doing very well, and we like it short term here. We think it's a good investment. I'll let you know what we're going to be doing in another week or so. I would say by next week we should be finished with our analysis and our patterning there. All right. Another one. Let's talk a little bit about real estate. Real estate has definitely hit a bottom here. Now, what may happen is if we take a big hit in the economy, it may stabilize a minimum decrease from here. But I can tell you, with 50 years experience in this business, you get a feel for things, we are actively pursuing some good real estate investments again at this point. I know my son has purchased some nice mixed-use type of properties. I just did, and we're looking to acquire more. So those of you who have been waiting and trying to catch a market bottom, I think it's pretty safe to make an investment here. Of course, that depends on where you're at. You know, I'm looking at the Northeast in particular, but even areas like Florida and Arizona are starting to make a nice comeback. It's still depressed in certain areas, yes, but starting to make a comeback. In fact, let me give you two areas that we're looking to invest in. Both of them happen to be in Arizona, but that's a coincidence. The first and most impressive is a city called Kingman, Kangman, and it's in the northwest quadrant of the state, not too far from miles from the Nevada border, and the gaming city of Laughlin in Nevada. It has grown by 40% since 2000. From 2000 to 2009, it has grown by 40%. Now, the significance of that number, and by the way, it's increased by over 60% in its GDP. Right, the income levels have risen dramatically there, as have the real estate prices. Now, the significance of that is this: that remember, 2007, 2008 is when the real estate market crashed. Right? It really started to hit its peak. And yet, we're looking at a projection as of, or a statistic rather, as of 2009. So it's a nice place. It's up north in the mountain areas, so it's cooler. It's a good retirement area. There is a lot of activity there relative for a small town. There are a couple of larger cities in that area, And you do have the attraction of Nevada gaming, and Las Vegas is certainly not that far. It's maybe about, I don't know, hour and a half, hour and 45-minute drive from there. So we like it. We're looking to purchase something there, maybe some land. It's still fairly cheap. Look on the website there, kingman.com. And kingmanarizona.com, and look at the statistics for yourself. The second is a town near Scottsdale called Fountain Hills. We love Fountain Hills. I'd love to buy a place to live in Fountain Hills. Fountain Hills has some of the most spectacular scenery, mountain scenery and desert scenery that you've ever seen in your life. Absolutely magnificent, and the prices are very moderate. It's a small little town, but it's about to explode. There are some major developments that are on the boards there and funded, and it could be happening within the next 8 to 12 months. So both of those areas, I don't think you can go wrong. If you want any information, go to their websites. Kingman, Arizona, and Fountain Hills, Arizona. This is the type of stuff that I would recommend to younger and middle-age investors, because time is on your side. Old-timers like me, if we buy stuff like that, such as land, it's for our children, for posterity. I think you'll see within the next 5 to 7 years significant growth in both of those areas, and that's a real estate opinion. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with our country. I saw this beautiful, wonderful site from Common Sense. Bob Basso does a magnificent job as Thomas Paine. And I recommend that you, if you haven't already seen it, he has 2 presentations that he does on the American Revolution, the New American Revolution, and they've had significant attention. One, I think, has over 10 million hits. The other one has close to 4 million hits. Go see it and give Bob whatever support you can. We are, most of what he says we totally agree with, and we think that we need to have done. In fact, I'm going to be contacting Bob and suggest a conceivable march on Washington for the purposes of tyranny, for purposes of a citizen's action against the Senate for malfeasance and for law-breaking functions such as not passing a budget, which is 1974 Budget Act. It's against the law not to. They've done it for 4 years consecutively. I think these people, since they think that they're above the law, I think that we should take the law into our own hands and have a march on Washington, a tyranny march on Washington, and conduct some sort of constitutional arrest, legal citizens arrest, to let these people know that they are not above the law, and we are fed up and sick and tired of their bullshit, and that we need to put them asunder here. This is enough is enough now, and I know I have friends, liberal and conservative friends that feel the same way. That we're kind of out of control here. We're so divided that it's ridiculous, and there's no need for it, folks. You know, the ancients had this notion of talking things out. You know, the Greeks and the Hebrews and the Orientals. They had this notion of solving things by asking questions and probing and bringing up objections and coming to common ground. We've lost that. We've lost the spirit of engagement for the purposes of development, and that's what we need. We need to get that back. We need to get that back personally, as well as with our country and our cities and states. It's something that needs to be done. Okay. Next, I want to talk a little bit about a strategy that I think might be falling in place here, that we can support as individuals in different ways. You may have heard that Donald Trump is in negotiations for the New York Times. Why not? Yeah, it's a failing media, but you know what? The reason why we're getting plummeted in politically is because of the power that's been entrusted to the press and the media concerning politics, government, and the lack of proper and fair and balanced oversight that media has brought to politics and to governance. Why shouldn't we, as I'm a libertarian, but why shouldn't we, as conservatives, libertarians, independents, take over the press? Why shouldn't we have more men like Trump? It doesn't necessarily have to be Donald Trump, but one conservative opinion, one libertarian, movements of that type in buying out, enforcing takeovers of the media might be a damn good strategy for us. And I'd like to get the word out there so we can pursue this and see how where that will take us. I think that would be a damn good move and a big move towards a more fitting and proper and balanced approach to governance, and present a different concept on an overall mass media basis. And we can do that just by buying stock in ventures of that type, supporting it as well as with advertising and things of that sort and subscriptions. Okay? I think that's it for the week. Next week we'll have some more for you with some finance. We'll give you a little bit more information about Turkey and the market and Wendy's, and we may have a stock for you we're watching. I'm not ready to pounce on it yet, but BP may be something that we might be purchasing here. Nice rate of return on that stock and good upside growth. So we want to wish you a warm and wonderful week. Enjoy. We'll see you next week.